Well, good morning, everybody in Periscope, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Facebook. Thank you for this opportunity for me to do another video with you. Thanks for coming in and joining in and sharing this post, video blog, however you want to categorize it within your professional and personal network. This morning, I want to talk a little bit about the idea of trends and how we have become a culture of trends. We have trends. Good morning, Serdar 1907. Thanks for joining in. Young G, thank you for coming in. You know, the trends that we see today are a reflection really of people not really wanting to stick with things for the longevity. It's just for the here and now. It's almost like a band-aid solution culture. We look at trends as things as what's hot, what's in, what's everybody doing, what can I do? I want to be just like them. And we measure ourselves up to these trends and not realizing that these trends can somewhat be detrimental to our progress, to our growth, and to our development, because we only see things. Hi from the Ukraine, homie. Thank you, welcome. Thank you. We only see trends as things that just give us a sense of relief or gratification for the moment. And when we look at it as being a harmful way of thinking, acting, and behaving, what ends up happening to us when we get caught up in trends is that we never learn how to stick with things for the best interest of ourselves, because we're always measuring ourselves up to the trends. We're always trying to feel that to be a part of the trends, you are now relevant. And you're somewhat irrelevant when you are following trends that don't match your strengths, your existence, your character, your integrity, almost from the lens of even matching up with your passions, your purpose, and your potential. When you are just becoming trendy, you're not going to last. Then you're going to find the next trend to replace the trend that no longer exists or is the in thing. And especially now with the season of giving coming up, such as Christmas, and what we do with that season, we've seen it become so commercialized that we've lost the essence of what Christmas actually means, and we see it as also a trend. You know, it's interesting how people will say something to you leading into the month of Christmas. Oh, we need to do something good for someone who's less fortunate than we are. We need to do something good for someone who needs a meal or some money, or just to give something of our time to make sure that, you know, they see that we care. Why do we have to wait for a season of giving to give to someone when our season of giving is every day? It's 365 days a year. It's only based on that because you choose to see it as a trend, and you associate the giving season with trying to do with what works and not what's right. And this is what I find very interesting with our culture, is that people are falling into that crack, not realizing that the trend is another way to take away from your existence and take away from your whole way of who you really are underneath the skin in mind, heart, and body. So I'm not going to sit here and put people out there in the essence of thinking that if you're a part of the trends, you're doing something wrong. That's not what it is here. What it really is a self-reflection of understanding the dynamics of our culture and seeing it from a bigger perspective, and also then being able to shrink that big perspective into something smaller that's associated to us as a brand, as an individual, as a person in our community, and as a contributing person in our society. We cannot get caught up in this trend mentality because it's the world that defines that for us. It's another way of us giving up our empowerment, self-empowerment, our existence to the world, because we then want to measure ourselves up to the world in different ways. And this trend thing, all these trends are all a part of taking away from you. They don't add to you. You can't learn from a trend if it's only in and hot for the next 6 months or a year. How are you going to learn from it? How are you going to grow from it? Why is it that we see musicians don't last as long as musicians of 30, 40, 50 years ago who actually paved the way? Why is it that we see athletes, they get injured sooner in their careers when they start younger, and they never last that 15 plus years, as people like Magic or Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or other significant basketball players that set the pathway for the athletes of today? Because everything is based on trends. These trends are showing us that it's all about the here and now, and then once the trends wear out or wear off, we don't really have nothing else to replace it unless we go out and develop one or find one and then try to add it and force it to ourselves, and then we try to become something that we're not. And once again, we end up doing something that works, not doing something that's right. And the right thing to always be focused on is you as a brand, you as an entity, and making sure that when you look at these trends are not to become a part of you, they're just there. You might be able to take some small pieces from a trend that can help add value to you, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to become the trend or be recruited by the trend to be a part of the trend, because all it is just a bunch of people recruiting you to think like them, to act like them, to buy the things like them, and try to dress like them, when in actuality that doesn't work. Look at even, I take for a very basic way of looking at things. Look at how in the supplement industry, where people go out to GNC and all these other stores to buy supplements that are marketed by athletes who say they take it, not realizing that some of these supplements aren't really meant for us to ingest, because they don't really work for us. It's not the right thing to do, but because we associate it with a celebrity or an athlete who's taking it, we assume we're gonna get their same results. Once again, the trend is to measure up to an athlete's results based on what they've done, or measure up to what somebody else has done with the supplement and say, I'm gonna get the same result. It's a trend-seeking culture. It's a domino effect, and it's killing us. It's killing us mentally, physically, and emotionally from the inside out. So what we need to do is understand where all these trends are coming from. We see it in the music industry, the fashion industry, in our culture when it comes to things like our entitlement culture. We see it in the ways how people try to manipulate systems to get what they want, even though they know they're doing wrong. They find ways how to get advocacy for people to advise them on how to go about getting what they deserve, not getting what they've earned. And that's our culture mentality right now. We're seeing it in the sports industry. We're seeing it in the supplement industry, as I said, are just some basic examples. And these examples are very significant, but we have to wake up and know that they're there. And we have to learn how to not so much analyze it, but seek understanding so that we can feel understood, so that we don't put ourselves or compromise ourselves to the trends. The trends are just a way of sucking you into something that you don't want to be, but you feel you don't have any other options. And ladies and gentlemen, there's always options, because you have to learn how to understand these trends for yourself and how do they apply or not. And then what things can you take away from it, from what things that you don't need. Because it's all about making money. It comes down to money, volume, and people. And when you get those three things together, it's a very dangerous formula for billions of people to make billions of dollars off of you. Think about it. If I go out and buy a pair of Air Jordan shoes just because I like Michael Jordan and I like how it fits and how he plays, I'm not gonna play like Michael Jordan. I love Michael Jordan, but I'm not gonna put on his shoes and say I am now Michael Jordan. It's not the shoes that make me Michael Jordan, it's the shoes that add to me to make me Mark Dunn. That's the difference. I am not Michael Jordan. I am not, Arnold Schwarzenegger, where I want to get these big muscles and use these supplements to help me get the edge. I am not my friend who's in the bodybuilding industry, who's doing what they're doing, and I want to get their results. I can't measure myself up to them. I can only measure myself up to the reflection that I see in the mirror every day. I am not any of the things that are trends. I am an individual. I am an individual entity. I am a brand. I am someone who has value, someone who is significant, and someone who can do something with themselves, but not based upon measuring myself up to other people's standards. And that is the key to life right now, is making sure you pull away from what the trends are, pull away from what the mainstream are doing, and go against the grain and look at yourself as an individual brand and brand yourself along the path of your journey. Everybody out there, have a wonderful day. It's an awesome day. You're alive, you're well, you're here. Thank you all for the support. Thank you all for coming in and listening to this live Periscope feed. And as I mentioned always, share this amongst your professional and personal network. This is the only way we're going to help change our world, is by seeking understanding so that we all can be understood, and make sure that we have positive information to help us along the way. Have yourselves an awesome day. Take care.